Good afternoon. I hope you all are truly enjoying this experience because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all of our students that are here today. And I welcome all of those professors and associates and businesses that are also here. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Tony Anthony Nicholson. However, I did want to tell you, Mr. and Mrs. Nicholson, that who are present here, the colleges and universities. We have the United States Military Academy at West Point that's in our presence. Those young men and women, please raise your hand. We also have the Wickesire and LTC, Melissa Esselinger are accompanied, the 13 cadets. Please raise your hand. The University of Central Florida is present. Bethune-Cookman University, Florida A&M University is here, the University of Florida, Valencia College, and Florida Atlantic University. We also have a representative here from Singapore. I'm not sure of what corporation or business you're from, but to say hi to you. We have students here from Chicago, and the name of your school? Willowbrook High School, which are the only high school students that are present today. Now, did I leave anyone out? Excuse me? Oakwood University is also here. So give yourselves an applause at this time. And in respect to our distinguished guest, when I read his bio, all I can say is thank you, sir, for being here. Mr. Anthony Nicholson has been an entrepreneur since 1962. He had graduated from Tulane University in 1960. Mr. Nicholson joined the McDonald's Corporation in new site acquisition and lease negotiation. In a short period of time, Mr. Nicholson had mastered the business and decided to open his own company, Anthony J. Nicholson Incorporated. The company's main function was real estate brokerage and financing placement of first, second, and land mortgages. In this position, Mr. Nicholson was able to place several $1 million worth of mortgages, the largest mortgage being the Tyson Corner Shopping Center in Washington, D.C. And if anyone has ever been to Washington, you've all attended or visited the Tyson Shopping Mall because it's the hugest. At that time, this was the largest shopping center in the United States. Soon thereafter, he expanded his services to financing and managing apartments. The decision led him to the Orlando area in 1967. In 1981, he founded Teleco, Orlando's first long-distance telephone resale company, which he sold in 1990. Mr. Nicholson formed the Nicholson International Products Incorporated in 1985 to promote concerts and manage video production in Florida. Swazi Dancing, featuring Patrick Swayze, which won the ITA Gold Video Award for production, was one of his most famous attributes. Mr. Nicholson decided to purchase Pirate Radio in Panama City, Florida, and the station soon rose to be the #1 in the state. He owned the station for 2 years, selling it in 1992. Mr. Nicholson remains a busy man, with professionally and personally. He has been elected to the board of directors of Who's Who worldwide business leaders in New York City, Orlando Area Apartment Association, Florida Apartment Association, the Walt Disney Memorial Cancer Center of Florida Hospital. Mr. Nicholson has also donated his services and experiences to the University of Central Florida. He was the chief of the development committee for UCF and served on the executive board of trustees. Mr. and Mrs. Nicholson bequeathed an undisclosed amount to the University of Central Florida, and in turn, the university named the School of Communications after them. The first school program or building named after a person at the University of Central Florida. He is a member of the Board of Visitors to the Nicholson School of Communication, Vice Chairman of the Foundation of Florida Hospital, Chairman of the Board of the Nicholson Center at Celebration Hospital, considered the #1 training center in the world for simulation and robotic surgery. He has served on the UCF Athletic Association since its inception and donated the Nicholson Field House, the first full-length indoor football field in the South. Mr. Nicholson became a limited partner in 3 Broadway shows this past year: Evita with Ricky Martin, The Best Man with James Earl Jones, and Porgy and Bess. Mr. Nicholson remains actively involved in the Nicholson School of Communication. He is supportive of the Quotes Advertising and Public Relations Club, in which both he and Mrs. Nicholson are honorary members. At this time, I'd like you to all applause for Mr. Nicholson to please come forward. And that was just 1 page of his 3-page bio. And so I thank you, sir.
Thank you for that introduction.
Oh, you're welcome, sir.
That was very much more than I thought. In fact, my memory is getting bad. I didn't remember some of that. But I will make a plug. The plug is that if you have a chance and you're in town, downtown Orlando, there's a little place called Wahlburgers, where Mark Wahlberg and our partnership have set up, if you're all familiar with Mark Wahlberg, the actor. And the food is great. You'll enjoy it. That's a new venture. Let me just say, first of all, it's a privilege to be in front of you because you're our future. You're what we leave and what we make all this for. Frankly, I'm very privileged to know that the military academy students are here, and I thought most of you had already designated your specialty in medicine, but I'm finding out that some of you are exploring, which leads me to believe, I hope, that we can induce you to believe that medicine is perhaps your best way of going. There are so many new innovative opportunities that you're going to have. New processes, new procedures, new equipment. Right here at our center, that's what we set this up for. We want to give you the opportunity of working and learning about what this equipment does and how you can perform the procedures. And let me just say to you that right now, for the most part, we're working with the Da Vinci robot, which is made by Intuitive, but there are new robots coming out. And those robots will be obviously part of our equation as well to look at. And there's some other things that I'd like to bring to your attention. There are some procedures that are available that a lot of the doctors would lose a lot of money on, that we are coming up with that would, let's take one as an example. Let's take a procedure that was perfected by Insightec, an Israeli company purchased by a good friend of mine, Maurice Ferrer. Insightec has come up with a high-intensity, I can't read the word, ultrasound equipment to clear up fibroids in women. Most of the time, when you find these fibroid problems, the gynecologist is going to say, let's go in and have a hysterectomy. And obviously, it's not a great opportunity for the lady. And if she can go with a non-invasive procedure to get rid of the fibroid problem, it's tremendous. So there is all that new kind of equipment and new kind of procedures that are coming out and will be available and are now FDA approved. So besides that particular one, there's the Mako robot also that was purchased just recently by Stryker, and that's going to be terrific equipment for knee surgery. As a matter of fact, there's a Dr. Kuhn who we tried to get licensed in Singapore. That may be of interest to our member here from Singapore. And Maurice Ferrer, the innovative builder of the Mako robot, and I were partners, and we were sponsoring Dr. Kuhn to open up a clinic and at the same time be able to have the Malaysians and anybody in the East come for knee surgery. We are able, with that robot, to do a 28-minute total knee replacement, which means no infection. It eliminates all the potential problems that have come up with orthopedic surgeons. Unfortunately, the Singapore government refused to give Dr. Kuhn certification, and it failed because of that, and we had to close shop. And it's a shame, and there was no real justification because Dr. Kuhn is one of the most renowned, famous surgeons in the world and is the man who perfected the equipment to do that 28-minute procedure. So you can take back to Singapore and you can ask them, hey, what's going on? All right, now let's get into some other things that you should know about. There's the Mazor robot, created by a friend of mine, Ori Adami, which is great stuff for back surgery if you're going to have the cages and the screws and all that put into you. It absolutely perfects the location where the orthopedic surgeon can go ahead and drill. You're maybe familiar also with Mimic. I hope you are, because I think we have our Mimic representative here that follows me. And I want to tell you, that's a great company that's done tremendous work in simulation. And it's something that you can take from here and think about suggesting to wherever you go, they get that equipment so you can train on it. It's good stuff. I hate to do a plug like this, but I think you all have to recognize that one day you're going to be out there and you're going to be looking forward to making sure you're doing the procedure you're going to do properly, and you want to train on it constantly. Now, I hope you've learned that what we do here is innovative in its way. We're giving you the opportunity of seeing how the procedure on the Da Vinci, for the most part, is completed and done. And I must tell you, there's a doctor connected with the Nicholson Center that I'm very proud of, Dr. Vip Patel. Have you all met, or have you talked to, or have you heard about him? Dr. Patel is an absolutely wonderful urologist who we detected was working at Ohio State University. And a group of administrators from Florida Hospital went up to interview with him and try to get him down here, obviously, to work with us. He brought us to Columbus, Ohio. We took a private plane up, and at night he presented in a hotel room a screen and was so welcoming. And the first person he walks up to is me, and he says, "You must be Mr. Nicholson." I said, "Yeah." And I'm glad, "Are you Mr. Patel, Dr. Patel?" "Yes, sir. Please have a seat." And he projects on the screen the image of the rendering of the Nicholson Center. It was not here, all right? He had heard about it and heard that it was going to be built, but he wanted to say to me very nicely, "This is where I want to be." And I need not tell you, I'm delighted that it worked out in that capacity. He has done tremendous work for the hospital and for all of you students. If you ever get a chance of watching his procedures, he can do 8 a day, 8 removals of the prostate a day. He's unbelievable. And he can talk to you while still doing the procedure. That was something I never figured out. But in the meantime, I don't want you to start thinking that you're going to do that. I want you to understand that you got a lot of training to do and a lot of education to get. And it certainly seems to me that we can help you in any way if you're going to become a surgeon. If you're going to become any other kind of a doctor, like a general practitioner, it's still good to learn about what's going on. But primarily, this is for kids, young people, to go ahead and learn the procedure of surgery. I must say, I'm very proud to know that each one of the young people from West Point, they were all appointed by some senator or congressman to get into the West Point, as you probably know. And that's an accomplishment. That meant that there were hundreds of students that applied for that opportunity, and these are the people that made it. And they need to be recognized and applauded as well. I hope that with that recognition and with the honor that you've got, that you're going to go through your education at West Point and get the highest merit you can in grades and other opportunities, extracurricular activities, and at the same time come out of there, and if you're going to be a surgeon, by God, let's get you over here. And I might say to anybody from UCF here? Good men. I'm a very proud representative of the university, as you probably know. And the Nicholson Communications School is doing wonders and is also moving downtown. We have a new campus. We are now, by the way, I must announce this, University of Central Florida is now the largest university in the country. Arizona State was, but they took their internet students and separated it into a different college. So that makes us now the largest university in the country. And be proud of that, but let me tell you. The other accomplishments are that the football team, which had a dismal season last year, I hope you will watch us on TV when you have the opportunity, because we're going to be much improved. I'm going to open it up for any questions. I can only tell you that I really am happy to speak to you all, and I only hope that you get out of this the idea that there's a future, not only in medicine, but a future in any activity you go into if you pursue it with the purpose in mind that you are going to get good grades and you're going to come out of there and do the right thing for you and the country. Okay? I'm going to open up for questions. Anybody have any? Okay. On that basis, I've done my deed, and I'm going to hobble back out. It's a pleasure to see all of you. Pleasure. Good to see you.